Hello, Cancer. Great to have you here. My name is Shauna. Today's reading is a general love forecast. As always, take the messages that resonate and release anything that doesn't. Don't forget to like and subscribe to stay connected with upcoming readings. Let's see what's headed your way, Cancer.
Message out that I have for you is that I feel like there's a venture, and it's a very long-standing venture, okay? That just you're waiting for it to get off the ground, and I feel like it feels to me for some of you like a missed opportunity, and then for others it just feels almost as if there's a lot of snags along the road, and there's a lot of just bad communication between you and another in the process of trying to get this thing off the ground. Okay, so I feel like some faulty delays and things like that coming through. What I'm also sensing is I feel as if you are dealing with someone and there's some travel involved. So either you are planning to go see them, they're planning to go see you, or you both are planning a trip together as a unit. And due to financial reasons, due to personal family obligations, and work obligations as well, obviously, but I feel like due to mainly financial reasons and family obligations, such as having to take care of the kids, having custody of the kids, things like that. These things are getting in the way, so it feels like a missed opportunity, an opportunity that might have been planned out and discussed in depth, and it just never got off the ground. So I do feel a lot of you are kind of might be upset about this, and as a result, I feel like you might turn your back on that person, or if it's you, they might turn their back. Okay, so I feel like some hurt feelings coming through, disappointment and things like that. So one of the other energies I'm feeling for you guys for the majority of this month is I'm feeling damage control. Okay, repairing relationships that might have gone awry, repairing I would say like almost damage control overall. So trying to reach out and speak to another person, and I feel like for some of you there might be someone who is trying to reach out to speak to you, and you're kind of like very, very defensive at this point. Okay, and then for others, I feel like there might be some type of overworking yourself, too much exertion, okay? Too much like overexertion. I see some of you physically building something, and I see you holding a lot of big things like pieces of logs, limber, um, timber, excuse me, timber, rocks. I feel you building something, and I feel like you're trying to also make some type of either a peace offering or sending a gift to appease somebody who has turned their back. So that's what I'm feeling, okay? Like coming back in, trying to make an offer to somebody, and I feel like they're kind of upset, okay? So this is a pretty mixed bag type of month. I do feel that you want to be careful about your financial expenditures. Curb your spending. Don't go too extravagant in order to buy like that perfect gift for the other person or to appease the other person. I feel you going all out, and I feel like, financially, you just want to curb your spending a little bit. What I'm also feeling is it seems like you've had really, really great hopes on a situation, or for something to blossom. It had a very, very good beginning, and you're just like, it had so much potential, and you want it to blossom. And I do sense that the delay is definitely in the picture for this month. I do feel November, I guess when the sun is in a fellow water sign, in the sign of Scorpio, I feel like that's when things will smooth themselves out. So communication kind of sucks for this month. Try to don't jump to conclusions. If someone is being a little bit kind of evasive, or if they're a little bit unclear, try to thoroughly ask them. Don't jump to conclusion, especially if you're dealing with, text messages and things like that, okay? So read things carefully, read it twice if you need to. Don't jump to conclusion, don't get riled up and get defensive, okay? So I feel like that's coming through. It seems to me like it's a mixed bag type of month. Might be a little bit frustrating on the money front, on the communication front. There's also a lot of like stop go type of energy where you don't know where you stand with another person. So I feel like the foundation is very wobbly. That's what I'm feeling here. So one last card. Let's see. Okay. All right. So let's talk about your spread here. Okay, so this is funny because I believe these two came out for another sign like sometimes last month. So first of all, we do have the Tower and we do have the Death card, okay? Now, the Tower is something that is built on faulty foundation, okay? It wasn't well thought out. It might have been discussed, but I feel like a big part of you know that it wasn't going to work out. So it's something that you had really high hopes and expectations for. And I feel like it's basically a big disappointment. That's what I'm sensing for a lot of you. In the mundane sense, this can actually be like something that was accumulated, built up over time, such as a career, such as like financial assets, like wealth, and a relationship where, two people were involved and there might have been some type of a breakdown in that relationship, or some type of like truths being revealed in a very, very swift manner that shook the foundation of that relationship, okay? So I do feel that a lot of you are dealing with this situation. It came out so, and I hope it already happened rather than happening this month again. So I feel like this is a situation where it can no longer sustain and you're going to have to go a different route. Hence, it's linked up here with the Death card, which indicates irreversible transformation and changes happening in all sectors of your life, okay? So what I'm sensing as well is, especially if you are living with another person, cohabiting with another person, or even married and in a relationship with another person, there might be a situation like some type of a falling out where someone might be moving, okay? And let me just emphasize, the first two cards deals with energy from the previous month. And I do feel that if it permeates through this month, I'm going to pull out another clarifier card, but if it permeates in this month, I definitely feel like some ways of doing has come to an end, and you're going to have to move on. You're going to have to move forward, and you're going to have to forge ahead because the old way was not working, okay? So let me pull out an additional card to clarify for you. Can you show me what the Tower pertains to? Okay, so we've got something related to travel, voyage, some promises, something that was planned or solidified with another person and they flaked out. So I feel like you were hoping on something. Your hopes and expectations were kind of dashed as a result of this person being flaky. And I do feel it's an opposing energy from you, okay? So somebody made promises, and I feel like they reneged on their promises. So I definitely feel that coming through. We have a messenger here. So the knights are all messengers. And in this situation, it was something that was discussed in depth. And I feel like it pertains to travel because this is like the warrior, the traveler of the deck with the Knight of Wands here. It might pertain to a fire sign, a Sagittarius, an Aries, or a Leo. And interestingly enough, the last month, I did a reading for Capricorn, not Capricorn, Scorpio. The Tower came out and the Page of Wands came out, which dealt with inflammatory news. And that actually came to fruition for quite a few Scorpios. So in this situation, it deals with a voyage, it deals with a trip, or it deals with like another fire sign in your midst, okay? So I feel like there's something coming through that's really gonna transform the relationship that you have with this person. And I see a lot of damage control happening for this month, so I feel like somebody is trying to be on their best behavior to try to fix or mend a relationship or some type of breakdown. I'm sorry, Cancers. I'm sorry. So with the Death card, it basically means to me that you're going to get past this, okay? You're going to get past this. So the next two cards deals with kind of like a little bit of a stalemate, a little bit of a standoff here, okay? So you have the King of Cups as well as the King of Wands. When I read this, I basically feel like this is, I think about the Cold War, and I think about like one person is kind of like strategically trying to figure out what the other person's doing. The other person likewise is trying to sit there and trying to figure out. You're guessing your opponent's next move, and they're doing the same thing to you, vice versa. No one wants to be a bigger person and make the first move or make that first gesture. There is like a sense of intense competition in your environment. And I feel like this might pertain to some interpersonal relationship where you feel like someone is trying to, show off, where you feel like the other person is very unpredictable and you're playing your cards close to your chest. You're trying to figure out a situation. There's a lot of like strategy that is involved here. And let me just say as well, we have the King of Cups, which is a water sign, and the King of Wands, a fire sign. And these are traditionally, the opposite element. So I feel like you're dealing with a very, very conflictual situation where you and another person just can't really understand one another. You're racking your brains trying to figure out what they're thinking, and they likewise are doing the same to you. And both of these are king energies, meaning that in this situation, I feel like the both of you are trying to you're bringing your best foot forward. You're putting your best foot forward, which means you're not trying to be petty. You're just trying to arrive at a compromise, okay? So some of you could be going through some type of legal battle with another person who's very, very, very intelligent, very crafty. And I don't feel it's in a bad way. I feel they're very intelligent, and there's some type of a showdown, some type of a standoff to see like who's going to get the prize. A lot of you might be in competitions, like some type of just really intense competition. I feel like this is a really, really competitive type of energy where one false move and your opponent will end with everything. But I do see, it's kind of like I just feel like there's a lot of silence. There needs to be some type of a truce that needs to be reached or that needs to be discussed. There's a lot of things on your mind, both of you, but no one's willing to make a move. So there's a massive stalemate here, okay? So two kings indicates competition automatically, and because their elements are so opposite, it feels to me as if this is going to be like, drawn out. It's going to be long standing, and it's not going to be a swift victory, okay? It's going to get drawn out. And I do see with the Justice card here, it indicates some type of a court battle. And first of all, if you are dealing with another person that you just can't get your point across, you need a mediator, okay? And a mediation will most likely come through, and that's going to be provide the best outcome for the both of you, so that you can end this type of a stalemate. What I'm also feeling is you might be given a mediator, okay, like a third party that's coming through, because we do have the King of Swords. So this is like the consultant, the advisor, the wise counsel, the person that is able to detach his ego and his feelings from a situation and just think about things and walk through things and arrive at a solution that is more rational. So there's a lot of feelings stirred up for this month, Cancer, so be very, very patient with yourself and with others. Don't jump to conclusion. I feel like, this is the fire. It deals with drive, ambition, and the ego. And the water, it indicates like sensitivity, clairvoyancy, and it also indicates like spirituality and higher wisdom. And the route that you take is not predetermined. It's pretty much still on the table for you? Do you want to go with like the more conflictual route, which deals more with ego energy, trying to push a specific agenda, trying to prove a point, or trying to, hold on to these grudges and pettiness? Or do you want to take the high route, which is more about spirituality, forgiveness, and wanting to create harmony and make peace with another person? Okay, so you have two paths that are laid out for you. And likewise, the person that you're dealing with, they themselves have their own two paths that are laid out for them. And I feel like one person is taking one path and the other one is like deviating. So we already have this kind of like perpetual conflict. And you need a mediator in order to settle this, because no one is really acquiescing, and it's going to be a long, drawn out battle, and it's going to be costly, and no one's really going to win. So I do feel that you want to reassess and really, seek a third party to mediate for you guys, okay? What's coming through as well is the Queen of Cups and the Nine of Wands. So we have well, let me just go through this card first. There's way too much energy coming through. So the Queen of Wands, the Queen of Cups, this is, I would say this is your energy here. This deals with a very, very young, innocent, and a very loving person. Somebody with a lot of love and affection to give to other people. What it's saying in this situation is, that sometimes this energy can be a little bit like too trusting, too loving, too naive, and she or he is blindsided by everything that's going on. So one of the things that they want you to be very, very careful about is make sure that people keep their word, and make sure that you are a little bit more guarded when it comes to the information that you are sharing with other people, the trust that you place in other people, not to be cynical or to be like jaded or, disillusioned. But I do feel that it's really important for you to be a little bit more strategic for this month, and to think things through in a more rational manner rather than going off with your emotions, okay? So impulses needs to be curbed, as well as like, that ego energy where we want to be right, where we're just like, I feel like one person is overly trusting, and then the other person is overly suspicious. So there's a lot of opposition in this card, which is quite interesting. If you are dealing with another water sign, okay, just if you are dealing with another water sign, I definitely feel that, like one person is just very, very skeptical and itching for a battle, and then the other person is kind of like, it doesn't understand where the other person's coming from, what produced this type of paranoia, or what produced this type of defensiveness. So one of the things that you want to do, and going back to this stalemate standoff here, okay, one of the things that you want to do here is, one person is on the defense, itching to battle. So in order to let their guard down, somebody's going to have to make a grand gesture, and possibly you, to prove to the other person that you come bearing friendship and goodwill. So I do sense like killing them with kindness. That's going to be something that you need to practice. But I feel like it's going to take a long time to break down or dismantle this person's barriers. And as a result of it, I feel that you are going to have to be quite strategic and also quite rational in the way that, you appeal to them. So, do a little bit of planning, find out what they like and things like that, and try to relate to them more on a human level so that they can let their guard down a little bit, okay? So it seems to me like for a lot of you, you might be working in an environment, and I'm feeling very, very strongly, I feel like jails, prisons, if you're working in that environment, or if for whatever reason you find yourself in that environment, I feel like you're dealing with people who are very hardened by life's challenges, and they're very skeptical, they're very jaded, they're very disillusioned, and they've had it very, very rough. So it's going to take, a lot of effort from your end to to get them to soften up or to let their guard down. So you've got some work cut out for you. And I do sense, you're going in there with the best intentions, but you're going to hit some roadblocks, and you didn't anticipate these roadblocks. You figure that, you can go in there and charm them, but I do sense that there's going to be a lot of opposition, and I feel like you might not have anticipated this, Cancers. So, you're not going to shy away from conflict or opposition. I don't sense that, but I feel like you're going to have to change your approach, and maybe like emotional connections take a really long time to develop. They don't just happen overnight. And then when you're dealing with a population that has been very hardened by life's challenges, and their heart chakras are closed off, it basically means that you're gonna have to like show that you are consistent, and you're going to have to put in a lot of work. So consistency over time. It might take months to see a breakthrough. It might take years. But I feel like consistency is going to be the only thing that you can rely on. And then once you break that consistency, that sense of stability, then the other person was just like, I knew it. So I feel like they're looking for you to fail. I feel a lot of you might be working in a jail capacity where you might be mentoring someone. You might be mental health specialist. You might want to help them, but I feel like they're very skeptical and they're very nervous and they don't trust you. They don't trust people in general, not just you. So I feel like don't try to establish that emotional connection, because it's a client therapist type of a relationship where it's already starting off on a unbalanced foot. So you want to just get in there, do your job, and over time you will know that if you're consistent with it and if you have the best intentions, I do feel that you're going to be able to break down some defenses. Okay, I feel as well some of you might be dealing with, I'm feeling stray animals, animals that have been abused. I'm also feeling children, like orphans, or children like juvenile delinquents is what I'm sensing for a lot of you. So you're coming in with somebody who is scarred, okay? And regardless of whether, whatever capacity they're in, if they've been traumatized, if they've been scarred, they're always going to be overly anxious. They're always going to be like with their guard up, and they're waiting for the other person to hurt them. So I feel like you want to heal them, and you want to take this on as a personal project. But I feel like it's really important for you not to be so emotionally immersed that you treat this person as if they are a victim that you need to help them, okay? Treat them like a client, and treat them in a way where I feel like you show them a little bit more, I guess, like a lot more courtesy. So it's not about sympathy or empathy. It's more about having a specific goal and going into a session with a specific agenda, so that you can be most effective. So try to detach your emotions from the situation. Is going to be a lot better for you. I feel some of you are in love with somebody who has like a very, very damaged past, and you take it upon yourself to fix them. Be very, very careful about that, okay? It's like breeding ground for a very, very codependent, toxic type of a relationship. There is definitely power differentials, power struggles already I see in this spread, so just be very careful about that. If that sounds familiar, you want to really tell yourself, that's not really true love if you're trying to fix another person. People need to deal with their own karma their own way. And when it comes to mental health issues, they need to seek therapy. It's not anybody's job to fix another person, okay? So that's what I'm feeling here. Now, in terms of the last cluster that we have here, we have the Ace of Wands as well as the Strength card. So first of all, the Ace of Wands indicates a new venture, new beginnings, new passions being stirred in you. And what it's saying for you here is to be a little bit careful again, because I feel like you are dealing with a situation where you are very, very passionate about another person. Okay. And first of all, I feel like you and the other person are very, very different, night and day. This is like that Beauty of and the Beast syndrome, where it's like the savior complex. This differences in upbringing. It's like two people, like that Romeo and Juliet type of a love story where two people are so different, and they romanticize it. They make it so that against all odds these people are together. But I do feel that there's an element here of being careful, being cautious, don't jump the gun, being a little bit more rational, realize that this is not something that can be built on a good footing because the preconditions to have a stable type of union are not met, okay? So you are kind of like being warned about this so that you can see it through, a realistic lens rather than rose-colored glasses. Don't idealize a situation. Don't put somebody on a pedestal where they don't belong. And especially if we come to any relationship with the mindset that I just want to be there for the other person. I feel bad for them and I want to fix them. I want to help them. And if that's the basis that you want to work towards, you're looking at this person already as a project and not as an equal relationship partner. And you're also kind of like undermining their own sense of free will and their own sense of human agency. So I feel like there are a lot of lessons that needs to be boundary issues and lessons about, where you end, where other people begin, interfering with other people's karma or creating bad karma. So just be really careful about this month. The energy is very volatile, okay? And so sound like it's scaremongering. But what I feel is a lot of these things have been dragged on for quite some time. If it's a codependent, toxic type of relationship where someone has been very damaged and you're coming in trying to, ease their pain to make them a project, it's already not going to work. And then I definitely feel like somebody's trying to charm the other person. There has been like a lot of disappointments, a lot of flaking out with one person. Somebody's trying to charm the other person in order to, give them another chance. And the same flake out energy is going to happen again because innately it's built on faulty setting, okay? It's built on a false sense of security. And I do see a little bit of just a lot of opposition with the people that you're dealing with. They're very, very different from you, and you see them a certain way, and they're not that way, and you're trying to fit them into the wrong box, okay? And you're idealizing something here, Cancers. So be very careful about that, okay? You're seeing a situation through a very naive or a very idealistic lens. All right, so take it very slowly if it's a new person that you're dealing with, either romantically or just somebody that you've just met. I feel like you're jumping the gun, okay? And what else I'm also seeing here with this Ace of Wands is I feel like, going back to what I mentioned initially, there's something that was planned with somebody and they flake out and it left you very empty and you're upset and I feel like you're turning your back and someone is trying to come back and charm you. Likewise, you might have invested a lot of time in a situation and then realize the other person was not committed and you're walking away, and as you're walking away they try to lure you back in. And your stance here, which I think is great because you're taking a stance and you're like, I don't believe it anymore. I'll see it. I'll believe it when I see it. And I feel like they're going to try to. I feel like it's still going to be the same type of behavior. Okay, so it's like very cyclical to me. And then likewise, if the other person is upset with you, they're gonna tell you, I'll see it, like I'll believe it when I see it, and you're like try, and I feel like at that point you don't even want to try it, but you just feel like it's a challenge, like so. I guess the best way that I can put this is you might have disappointed someone in the past, and they're coming in very skeptical about your intentions. And they tell you, like I need a grand gesture from you in order to believe you. And at this point, you might not even won't feel like it's worth it anymore. But because they're posing it as a challenge, you want to just overcome that challenge. You want to win. So your heart is not doing it to gain that person. Your heart's doing it out of that sense of like, okay, they're accusing me, so I need to somehow accomplish this. Does that make sense? I feel like that's a really poor way of explaining things, but I'm going to leave it at that because I feel like a lot of you might be doing it because you feel like you're being challenged rather than because your heart is interested in winning over a specific person on your side. And be very careful about that, okay? Argue on like use high-minded tactics, but also argue to arrive at the truth, not to win. I feel like if you can embrace that energy, it's going to help you greatly for this month. And then I feel like, whatever situation that has been real, it seemed really promising and then it just faltered. I feel like it's going to start again, but it's going to be with different people at the end of the month, okay? And especially going into a specific venture, it flopped, and then you went a different route, and then now it's making a comeback, but I feel like it's going to be the same old, so you're starting something else with other people, okay? Now, going to your advice, we have some good cards. First of all, for those of you in legal disputes, legal situations, okay, I do feel there's going to be some easing up of this situation, mainly because there's going to be a third party, like a mediator, coming into the picture to alleviate the tension and to help the situation. This is an advisor. This is somebody who's very objective. So they can give you very wise counsel, but the main thing that they're going to do is they're going to give you very, very clear advice. And if you follow whatever they tell you, I do feel that it's going to end swiftly and it's not going to leave you too scarred and too damaged. So I definitely feel, especially for those who are going through some type of a legal situation, okay? For others of you, there's going to be some type of a talk communication coming through, and you've got like an air sign, an Aquarius, a Gemini, or a Libra. That is going to be on your team. That is going to be a big, big help for you. So this person could be in a legal profession. They have some knowledge here when it comes to, legal profession. They have some type of, they're just very objective and they're very, very balanced. They have some very strong insights, and it's going to help you navigate some really convoluted, confusing energies that you're dealing with for this month, okay? So overall, it looks really good. We do have your public image taking a turn for the better. I feel finances, it's not too great. I don't feel anything too detrimental, but I would say try to curb your financial spending for this month, mainly because that was the first message that came out. And I also feel like, when we argue, try to aim for the truth, try to flesh out the truth and take the high road rather than arguing just to be right, okay? I'm going to go into your love reading and see, which area this is coming through as. I feel for a lot of you, somebody's trying to come through, give you some offers on the legal front. So if you're looking for a settlement, no one's really budging. So I feel like, consult an advisor. And I feel like that offer that's on the table, it seems to me as if you should accept it, okay? So that's what the message I'm getting. So let's see about your love life and romantic life. For the month of I see a lot of women who are dating men. I feel like you're turning your back. You're closing some doors. You're closing doors for good. You need to close some doors for good. You can't have these straggling relationships. They're draining your energy, and they're preventing new things from coming in for you. And they keep you stuck in, like, with self-doubt, okay? So you're going to have to physically close some doors on people. I feel like people coming to your house, trying to do some damage control, trying to make amends with you. And I feel like the damage has been done, and you need to move on. But I feel like you're still very soft-hearted. Okay, I feel something very cyclical. So if they're coming in, they're showing up at your door unexpectedly, just slam those doors shut, because it's gonna happen again. Okay, and then for others, I almost feel like you're being drained energetically. You're being drained by people in your environment, and they don't really, like their acquaintances. They might not have the best intentions. They might have ulterior motives, or they're just not like the greatest crowd of people that can add value to your life. You need to close some doors on those people too. Okay, especially, well, men and women alike. But I feel like for women, exes. Women dating men, I feel like exes. A lot of us, a lot of like people who took you for granted when you're gone. They try to reel you back in. I feel like baiting. There we go. Like they're baiting you. They know how to appeal to you. So a little bit of a challenging month, honestly, Cancers. So let me just try to focus here and do the love reading for Cancers. I see a little bit of a wandering eyes coming through for you guys this month, like scoping out new territory, um, for single and couple. So be careful about this, okay? For singles, that's perfectly fine, but for coupled people, I see like roaming eyes. Not great. Okay, so this is supposed to go here. And, okay. So let's go into your reading. First of all, it's this reading reminds me of Virgo's readings, where it's like different narratives playing out for different groups of people who might be watching this. But let me try to get like one common thread here. I definitely see here the first card is very, very positive. So we have the Ace of Cups. Oh, actually, sorry, I need to pull out another card for the Empress. We only have one. Okay, well, they give you two. That's fine. So let's talk about this. Sorry about that. False start. Okay, so we have the Ace of Cups, and the Ace of Cups deals with a situation. It can be a new crush. It can be a new love, okay? And I wanted you to be a little bit careful, because I feel like some of you are saying to yourself, like, that person's out of my league. And I don't know why you would say that, but you feel that way. You feel like, you're dealing with somebody that you really like, you're very attracted to, because this is like new love opportunities coming through that is really, really emotionally fulfilling for you, okay? And it also indicates a person coming through with a lot of love and a lot of affection for you, and it's very real. And they don't like you just because you look a certain way or you make a certain amount of money. This is like genuine love, okay? So I feel like a lot of you are dealing with or have dealt with somebody like this, and they're very selfless, and they really, really do love you, and they care about you. And one of the dangers I feel is that you might be kind of some of you might take this for granted, and then others who are giving so much to another person that they are either crushing on or really in love with. I feel like somebody's looking elsewhere. Somebody is like not satisfied with the status quo and is looking for other options, is hedging their bets, okay? And it's not a nice energy, but I do feel that with this Ace of Swords here. Yeah, it's the Ace of Swords. So you have the Ace of Cups and the Ace of Swords, okay? And then for others of you, I feel like you're trying so hard to move past a person. So in the past position, we have the Knight of Swords. And the Knight of Swords is, this is a communication card. This is somebody that comes in very, very swiftly, and then they ride out just as swiftly. So I feel like for some of you, occasionally, you might hear from an ex who is an air sign, an Aquarius, a Gemini, or a Libra. They might check on you to see if you're okay. They might try to, call you every now and then. They might pester you, or they might just check to see if you're okay. So I feel this energy coming through for a lot of you, and I feel like this is an ex coming through. And like I mentioned earlier, you have all these cords of attachment. You've got to close some doors, because I feel like you're a very sentimental sign, and Pisces and Scorpios as well, and you have trouble letting go. And so you feel that it's okay for me to be friends with my exes, but if they keep contacting you, and if you keep leaving those doors and those options open, it might send the wrong message to that person. It might give them hopes, and then they keep hanging on, okay? Or it might also block you from getting together with a new person, mainly because they might not appreciate that exes keep calling, exes keep creeping into the picture, okay? So that's what I'm feeling, especially if you're dealing with an air sign. Their intentions are very innocent, but I feel that you're going to have to cut some cords here, okay? In the past as well, others of you might be dealing with a fire sign. And this is someone who's very, very they might have children, they might want a family, they might want to have a lot of children, they want to settle down, and they want, they're very assertive. What you see is pretty much what you're going to get with this person. And I feel them coming in, their energy is really strong, very directed, and they know what they want, okay? So you don't have to play the guessing game. So what I'm sensing in the past is that a lot of you, I feel like might be with this person, or might have met this person, okay? This fire sign, Aries, Sagittarius, Leo. What I'm feeling is there's definitely two people from the past. There's definitely two people from the past coming through, okay? And then I feel like there might be a third person coming into the future, because I feel like you're scoping out new territory. That's what I'm sensing. And then a lot of you, if you are dealing with an air sign, an Aquarius, a Gemini, or a Libra, this person is very, very flirtatious. They've got other options. They've got many, many suitors on the table. That's what I'm feeling. They're quite dependable. I do sense that. But I feel like their energy is really like here today, gone tomorrow. It's like out of sight, out of mind. And I feel like that's not a compatible combination. It's not compatible, okay? The foundation here is the situation on which, this entire love triangle thing is built upon. We have the Two of Coins, which is definitely somebody juggling two options. And they're juggling in a way where they are confusing themselves. So this is just overall advice for water signs, and I feel like it needs to be said in this spread. You're a very, very receptive sign, okay? And that means you absorb a lot of energies from other people. And it's really important for you to surround yourself with good people. It's also important for you to think very positively, because you tend to beat yourself down, okay? And I feel like whatever you think, you can conjure up in the real world. You have great power of manifestation. So try to keep your thoughts very positive, and try to surround yourself with meaningful relationships, people that add a lot of value, a lot of knowledge to your life, and people that are good-hearted, because you're absorbing a lot of energy from other people. And that's specifically because you're a water sign. And cancers are not confrontational by nature. If someone does something that you don't like, you don't talk about it. You don't confront them. You just let things slide. And a lot of the times you assume that, well, the other person's an adult. They should know better. Well, people don't know unless you tell them. They can't read minds, okay? So I feel like you're dealing with some type of a situation um, where you're not happy with something, but you don't say it, okay? And I feel like if you don't say it, nothing's going to change. And so you might like use that to make excuses for why you're doing something you're not supposed to. And you might use that as a rationale to leave somebody. Um, and I feel like that's perfectly fine, but like if you don't like somebody for whatever reason, you definitely should leave them. But what I feel is that it's all about communicating and communicating in a meaningful way. It's not about assuming that people are telepathic and they should know how you feel. They should know what makes you feel good. People don't know, and you're dealing with very opposite energies, where fire and air. And fires, they just do things. They're not like they don't sit there and talk about feelings. And then you're dealing with a very rational air sign who's very, very up in their head. And they might be so detached from the emotional realm that they won't have a clue. So I feel like there's somebody juggling two options, okay? And there's a lot of passion involved with it here, with the Sun card. And the Sun card basically means it's like warmth, it's like mutual response. And I feel honestly there is somebody in your environment that is really, really attractive, that you really like, and you enjoy being seen with them. And I feel like there isn't compatibility, so it's not going to serve long term. But you're caught up in it by the way that people see you together, by the image of you both as a couple. So I feel like you're fascinated with that facade, and you're not really encountering the other person as a real thing. Does that make sense? So that's what I'm sensing here with the Sun card. It's all about the facade. It's all about the public image, and it's not stable. Okay, this is not a stable situation if you're juggling. And I feel like a lot of you might be going through a period of reassessment. You're trying to weigh out the pros and cons. You're trying to decide on, multiple partners. And there's nothing wrong with that if that is like between consenting adults. But I feel like your criteria for what you want and what you're looking for is very like ego driven. It's not really emotional choices that you're making, rational or even emotional choices. So it's not stemming from the heart chakra. So I feel like that's why there's so much conflict coming through for this month. Because like on the one hand, your heart wants this, but on the other hand, like your mind wants this. So I feel like just all these opposing energies, and I still see you, potentially being lured away by a third person. So there's just a lot of uncertainty. Everything's pretty much up in the air. And with the foundation, this wobbly, I feel something's going to come crumbling down, okay? So just be careful about that. Also, what I feel is while you are taking your time trying to figure some things out, someone might get frustrated and they might just sail away from the picture. So be very careful about missed opportunities. Don't take too long to weigh out the options, okay? Um, Likewise, if someone is putting you in a position where they are weighing you against another option, that's not going to fly. So you should remove yourself from the situation, okay? Because I feel like that's what's happening here. Someone is like very, very indecisive, not making up their mind, leaving somebody else hanging, and the other person gets frustrated. The other person doesn't want to be a plan B. So they're just like, okay, I'll see you later. This is not going to fly. So I definitely see something like blowing up, mainly because somebody is like weighing out their options or being too slow on the uptake, okay? So the crowning energy is something that you're thinking about, and this is something that's weighing heavily on your mind. We have the King of Swords. This is an air sign, an Aquarius, a Gemini, or a Libra. Once again, this is somebody who is very, very intelligent, very rational. You can have countless debates with them, and you can they're great to go out and have a good time with, because the conversation and the energy they bring to the mix is very, just very dynamic. They're very different from you, and I feel like they're going to give you very good advice. A lot of you are thinking about some type of regrets, some type of possibly disappointment, letdown, but I feel like regrets over how a situation progressed with an air sign. There's a lot of regrets here. So I feel like you might be attracted to this person, and I feel like they're very they're very directed. They're very, very fast. So if you don't catch up, they might leave you behind. And I feel like that might be what happened here. Okay? So those of you dealing with that air sign, Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra, I feel that the person has a short attention span. They're very impatient, and they're scoping out new territories already. And a lot of you might know about this. You might hear that they're dating other people, or, multiple people. And so you're not keeping your fingers crossed, and you feel like you had a missed connection, okay? Now, what's coming in the future position? And the future position is pretty much, how things are going to play out for the rest of this month. I feel like you're trying to offer your love to a person, okay? And I feel like this person might have children, so you are interested in somebody who has children. So we have the Empress here, and the Empress deals with fertility. It deals with a maternal type of figure, someone who's very attractive. This is like the ultimate attraction card, someone who's very attractive, who is very protective of her domain. She's got, she or he, they have their life together. They're professional. They make a lot of money. They know how to take care of themselves. They rule their domain with almost like an iron fist, but they're also very, very soft and very emotional, and also they know how to make others comfortable. Okay, this is somebody who lives in decadence, in luxury, and they're very attractive. So I feel like you've got your eyes on somebody like this. And the thing is, that's what I'm sensing, like, you like the way that you look together as a couple, but you might not be compatible, and it can be all signs, okay? You just like the way they look, you like the attractiveness, you like the veneer, but like innately, it's going to be very, very challenging to get anywhere if that's the mindset that you're coming to the relationship with. And what I'm also feeling is that this person is really tired of disappointment. So they're gonna sit back and they're gonna let you do all the work because they want you to prove it. And I feel like this might be for a lot of men who are dating women. You might be going through this. And then for women who are, whatever gender you're dating, for women that are going through this situation here, I feel like you have left a significant relationship behind because it was dragged on for way too long, and the other person was indecisive, and they were shuffling around multiple people, and you're tired of it. And I feel that for now, you're reclaiming your power. You sever ties, and you're trying to move on with your life, and you might be trying to move forward, okay? And then you get messages from your past, from your ex, that air sign or that fire sign, and I feel like you're blocking them out. So I feel for women, and for the women especially, whatever gender you're dating, I feel like you're reclaiming your territory, and you're not really suppressing your needs. You're not putting other people first anymore. You're putting yourself first, and you're gonna make the other people work for it. Okay, if they want to court you, if they want to date you, you're gonna make them work hard. And what I feel is your social life is really, really picking up. This is the, art, music, entertainment, dancing card. It's linked up with the moon. So I definitely feel something about, Be very careful. We have the moon here, the lunar cycle with the Empress, which deals with fertility. Be very, very, very careful with fertility, okay? Like unexpected pregnancies. Be very careful about that, because I feel like the X is coming back and it happens really fast out of the blue. And I do sense that, unexpected pregnancies, especially if you're not using, for women out there, just be careful. And for men too, just be careful, all right? So we have some challenges coming through in terms of like you deciding what you want, honestly. And then we have, for I feel like for women, Cancer women, you might be in the best position, because I feel like you have, reclaim your power. You're dating again. You're going out having fun, and there's going to be a lot of interaction with the opposite or whatever gender you're dating. And then you're going to get news from the ex. Okay, there's some news here from the ex coming through. The foundation is very, very faulty. So they're saying, say goodbye and mean it. Okay, close some doors, because all these energetic cords of attachments are really just they're not good for you. Okay, and be very careful about fertility. We have some really strong hits here for accidents, like unplanned pregnancies. Okay, so I'm going to leave you with that, Cancers. I apologize for the heavy energies, but I do wish you the best for this month. I'll be back in the mid-month reading, okay, to flush some of this out. So take care of yourself. Enjoy the rest of your month. Bye-bye.